Now, this was followed by a video presentation and dialogue with Max Amani. And that again was another interesting experience, learning of Max's journey and how she as a young person experienced her Blackness here in Canada. Further, that was followed up by a workshop presentation on Ubuntu by Mr. Baba Williams. And I caught some of it. And again, that was a very interesting presentation. I learned quite a few pointers in terms of the African philosophy of Ubuntu and how that can be used to influence the lives of our young people here in Canada. And finally, the afternoon segment culminated with a video display of African arts. And I am sure you all enjoy that immensely. So we are at this main event, and let me just thank you all who have here. And I just want you all to know that I'm particularly pleased that you have taken time out of your busy schedule to celebrate this event with us. Now, there are a few distinguished guests that I'd like to just mention. Earlier, we had Miss Mitika from Miss Valente from John Cabot. We also had Mr. Rego from St. FX. And these are teachers who have been supporting CACD for years. I met Miss Valente back in 2005. And we were doing work at St. Francis of Xavier back in 2005. I don't think Mr. Rego was there at that time, but he's doing tremendous work talking to the students and encouraging them to participate in the programs that we have to offer. I must say thank you again to Nanza for a tremendous job that she just did. I want to welcome and thank Renee Wallace Kuno for being here. And I also want to thank Camille Logan, Deputy Chief Mark Andrews. We appreciate you, and I know we were expecting Councillor John Kovac. I haven't seen his name anywhere, but I'm almost sure he's there. So I thank you all, one and all, for being here. And again, I'm encouraging you not to go too far. Feel free to go to the kitchen to get something to drink, but we're gonna have a fun and entertaining night for you all. And I just want to say how lovely it is that we can sit like this and listen to the great work of Black Canadians and what the Black community has done to make Canada the culturally diverse, compassionate, and prosperous nation it is today. And tonight, we just want to pay tribute to those great Black leaders of the past and the present. And as the theme of this event suggests, reflecting on the past to build a brighter future, one era at a time. So we tip our hats to those who have gone and they have worked and lay a foundation for us. And we now try to do the same for our young people. Well, I don't really want to go on because I'm sure you guys want to hear the presenters. They have messages for you that are going to take you into the future, give you a better understanding of what's happening in the different area in which they will speak. And we particularly selected education, the police, and mental health and well-being, because those are areas in which much of our young people have shown concern. And we feel that these are something that we should try and address for Black History Month. So without any further ado, I would like to invite our first presenter, which is Dr. Renee Wallace Kuno, to do her presentation.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I know most people have their mute on, so I don't expect the rousing response that.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello,
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, wow.
We're here.
Okay, this is fantastic. So we're still in February. The weather's getting better. It's Thursday evening, and I hope everyone's had a good week so far. And we are here to celebrate. That's really what it comes down to. And so the goal for me speaking tonight isn't so much to talk about, history, but it's about talking about ourselves, but in a certain context. And I promise I'm going to try to do a little bit of entertaining in the meanwhile, and anything I can do. But as always, being that I'm in mental health, I try very hard to put a positive spin on everything I do. So currently, I work as a registered psychotherapist, and that means I see people mostly online now due to COVID, and I try to help. Okay, so the overall goal is that I try to help. So that encapsulates what I'm going to talk about. What I'd like to do first of all, though, is that because I'm talking about mental health, I've created just a list of words. Let's call them big words. So just bear with me. I'm going to cut and paste them and put them in your chat. So for those people who know how to screenshot, you can just copy them, because for each one that I'm going to talk about, I won't. Where are we? I lost us. Oh no. Sorry. I put it in chat, and the reason I put it in chat is so that for the younger people, it's easy for them to cut and paste, and it's just a list of definitions and terms. Because also I teach, and I've taught for many years. I also teach online. So part of my habit is to put the terms and definitions in the chat, and that way, people can walk away with something. So it becomes more like educational. So here goes. So of course, there are many natural triggers that brought us to where we are. But one more recent prompt that got me to start thinking about what I'm going to talk about is that I read the preview for a very young person, at least at one point, from the Brampton community. And he's gotten to heights of very excellent success because he wrote a book, and it's a friend, his mom's a friend of mine, and you might have heard of Dr. Ian Williams. He's a teacher, professor, and so on. Yeah. And his latest book is Disorientation, and it made me reflect. My reflection started this mental discourse because of what does it mean from his take, what does it mean to be Black? So for quite a long time, after looking at just the preview, I set me off and thinking, what defines me? What defines anyone who constantly attempts to define him or herself or oneself? We're in an age where even the pronouns we use, like they and them, also defines us. More questions. Then I asked more questions from a psychotherapy point of view. So I asked the question, is the attempt to define oneself functional or dysfunctional? So that's a name or a word itself to be noted, functional or dysfunctional. Dysfunctional, such as the notion of constantly questioning one's ability, strength, weaknesses, etc. Psychology talks about the inner critic. That's also a term to think about. So the inner critic is a voice inside our heads that gets sometimes in front of us and may cause doubt and shame or the ability to be our best. So our inner critic is that part of us that can ask many things when we have stage fright, when we have anxiety issues or like performance anxiety. It connects to the issue of cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions, irrational overthinking, such as catastrophic negative thinking, such as the fear of failure. So if we think catastrophically, we may have fear of failure. And of course, it is a distortive thinking style, which really in reality, when you check it out, is irrational. It connects to the idea of how things should be versus how they really are. So when we think of how things should be, especially in certain, the way we were raised, for example, we think life is that way and that's our reality and this is how it should be. Married versus single could be one of them. Sorry, how they really are. Those are our thoughts, but thoughts are just thoughts. Thoughts are not facts. So when we have certain thoughts that we believe in and we really, really pull them into reality in a reality check context, then we realize also, but they're only thoughts, and thoughts can come to us from triggers that are around us, but they're only thoughts. They need to be tested, tried, and true before they really become facts. And of course, thoughts come from our nature and our nurture. Our genes or DNA, those who raised us, what they did to and for us, the way we've been programmed to think. So those are our core beliefs. Or core beliefs we have in, those are beliefs we have in our consciousness or personality package. And then even recently they posted on Facebook, the lies we tell ourselves. Maybe too, that can be the truth we tell ourselves. But we tend to be programmed sometimes so negatively. So we live life with the lies we tell ourselves. And those are sometimes parts of our core beliefs. For this part of our talk, I asked the question over and over, how do I define myself? How do we define ourselves? Some of us have hyphenated ancestry because this is Black history. Some of us are Afro, Euro, Asian, Aboriginal. And we're part of those who were there, conquered, or came over, or were brought over. And we're all part of that mix. In the context of how we define ourselves, I ask, do we collectively carry intergenerational packages of memories? What is our Black history experience? What is yours? What is mine? Is Blackness linked to race or culture? Lots of thinking, just questions. One more specific question, which I would like to become important takeaway for this discourse, is the issue of, do we carry intergenerational experiences such as trauma? Do such issues affect some Blacks more than others? So now I'm narrowing down to us specifically. Is it fair to say that African American and Caribbean Blacks have a different history, different historical racialized experience than people in Canada, in Brampton, in Mississauga, than maybe other people who have come from other parts of the world? Those are just questions I'm throwing out, not answering them. Are some kinds of Blacks more sensitive to issues such as microaggression, which are more subtle forms of hate and despise? Do some Blacks tolerate racial injustices more than others? Why? What do they know that others don't? So again, just questions. These questions connect to my most recent trip to Jamaica. So that's my background. And I went home to see my mom, who is 98. I like to brag. And she hasn't been able to return here since COVID hit. So these are all the thoughts that have been hovering around in my head. And then now I chose to write out a reflection on a couple of things. The first is when I went to Port Royal on a day trip. And for all the young ones, if you've never been to Port Royal, you should go. Even if you're not, your family's not from there or not from that island. It's rich in history. Research that. It's a fort. It's of buccaneers, pirates, and of course, slavery. The tour guide walked us all over the compound and told us many things that happened during that time, but it was all about the British, their conquest, and all their naval successes. Then I asked the question, where were the African slaves? Because there were markers there, and it seemed I asked a wrong question. The tour guide admitted that slaves came through that fort, but I was very disappointed because I knew the following as in this inserted quotes, and I left the link for you in the chat because it did say in the quote, in the early days of piracy, Port Royal was developed into the second largest English-speaking city in the world, behind Boston. But in 1698, Port Royal had also become the most corrupt. The city was overrun with brothels, taverns, drinking halls, and filled with slaves and pirates alike. So that's what I found off Google. But yet in the tour, she chose not to say anything about it. And basically I was on that tour with people from the United States, you know, people from America, but that part of the story basically was played down. And so it wasn't, you know, illuminated as part of the real thing that happened in Jamaica. So I thought, later on, after leaving the fort, we went for lunch at a place called a seafood restaurant. And whoa, the food was fantastic. All kinds of seafood, including fresh fish served with bami and festival. As I sat there waiting to be served, looking at the wharf near Kingston Harbor, seeing the fishermen coming ashore with their little boats and the catch of the day. In contrast to the crowded restaurant packed with patrons just happily enjoying their food, nice food, I imagined how the ancestors of most of whom were there in that restaurant as current Jamaicans who came out of the ships that stole them from motherland to that place such as Port Royal. But yet in the history of Jamaica, it's not much of an important factor to consider. So that was just one point. And I guess, remember, it's all of this is tied into who do we think we are? Who are we? What are we? Okay. Just throwing it out there for reflection. Now, the second item, the second instance of my reflection was the interconnection of this reflection was on a different day when I went to Old Harbor Bay with my sister, if anybody's ever been there. and
Hello, everyone.
fried fish for her cook shop.
And
I
was
heard
used was
two
used as a round.
fishmongers talking as they scraped the fish.
Hello, everyone.
They expressed disdain for another woman and how she came from Haiti with her 10 pickaninnies on a boat. She was the object of their disgust. When my sister arrived at the bay, she was the one who came to tell us that the fish had just come in and that there was some nice snapper and parrotfish. In case my reflection is missed, in Canada, we consider ourselves as West Indians or those of Caribbean descent, at least. And of course, if I won't bother to show the map, but because of time, if you look at the map of Jamaica or of the Greater Antilles, you will see that the point in Jamaica where they went to catch the fish and the point where Haiti is, it's only 90 miles. So you know what? It's kind of weird because the fish belongs to both people. It's the same ocean, same fish. And then I thought, who needs to fight over fish? You know, like it's almost, I found ridiculous that the anger and the disturbance was all over fish, right? So trivial. But those are some of the issues that are embedded in issues like culture and race and who we are and who we are not. Then my last reflection is quite specific to all that I said or want to say. And that happened in another place, because this was in Mapen Market, where my sister does her shopping again. And a young higgler sitting there with his mother said, now, if for those who don't understand our dialect, I'm going to speak in it. Me I go bleach, you know. Everybody I bleach forget light skin, you know. Hopefully everyone understands what I'm saying, right? He says he's going to bleach his skin. Me I go bleach, you know. Everybody I bleach forget light skin. I ignored his conversation at first, but after a few tries, I responded to his statement, seeing he obviously wanted to engage my attention. So I brought up the obvious established truths about bleaching and its dangers. I added the fact that it was that we as people from African descent should appreciate ourselves, our skin color and all that, regardless of what we got what we got, right? And this was his response. No, miss, me not African, me is Cuban. I believe there is a high degree of cognitive dissonance, it's what it's called, which is called mental confusion in our community, among our people, sometimes among our young people. And of course, it does have its particular impact on us. I don't know it's pushing us forward or it's holding us back or what it is doing, but it's something to wear the awareness to, because the biggest thing in mental strength is when we have a strong sense of ourselves. So sense of self can hold you and can keep you resilient. It could keep you above many,
educators appeal for curriculum
mental issues that you may face. And so, so the thought for this reflection is still, who am I? Who are we? Who are we really? What are we? You could put it anyway. I don't have the answer, perfect answer, but I think it's a question for reflection, because any issue to do with mental health, as in whether it's illness or whatever, comes from understanding ourselves, understanding yourself, myself, ourselves, and it helps to boost you towards where you need to be in a more balanced way. Hope you enjoyed the humor.
Thank
And
you
I
so
think
much,
there's some hands up or questioning. Is it questioning time, Rob? I don't know
I
what
think
falls.
that,
It's
your
upload.
presentation. But thank you so much for your presentation, Dr. Wallace. Certainly bring new light and insight in terms of the importance of understanding oneself and having that sense of self, how it enables us to say strengthen our mental capacity. Thank you so much. We will have to move on. We are running a little bit behind. And at this point, I'm going to ask our good friend, Deputy Chief Mark Andrews, to take the podium.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Certainly, yes.
Perfect. So I've got to apologize ahead of time. I can't, whenever I turn my video on, I lose connectivity. So I'm going to have to do this sort of, I can see you, Ron, but you
Yes.
can't see me, but you can hear me, which is what's important.
Yes, I'm
And I
sure
know
we all can hear you. Yeah.
And I know you have my presentation. So if you could share that with everyone.
Unfortunately, Mark, I don't.
Okay.
Was Deb supposed to send that to me?
I thought, listen, I have a PowerPoint presentation, but I don't need a PowerPoint presentation to talk to. I wish I was in a room with everyone so we could do this in a sort of interactive manner. But we don't have the presentation, so we'll just move forward. And first off, I want to thank you, Ron, and your team at CACD for putting this event on in what is a very challenging time. I having been to your event on a number of occasions in previous Black History Months, I know how impactful it is and how we as Peel Regional Police really, really want to be part of the initiatives that you are putting forward in our community. And when I'm at these events, just like today, listening to Dr. Wallace, I gain so much from the interaction. Dr. Wallace, can I say that was very powerful? Thank you. The
Thank you.
concept of cognitive dissonance. After being a police officer who grew up in Mississauga and still reside in the region, live in Brampton, and working in a policing organization in a community that has a challenging history with policing and working with and having trying to build a relationship based on trust and understanding. The concept of cognitive dissonance is one I'm very familiar with, but I don't want to take too much time because Ron, I know that we're under some time constraints, but there's some things that I wanted to touch on. For those, I see the list of attendees, and I know many people in the audience, and I wish I was there to sort of shake hands with everyone and have those sidebar conversations that are one of the really important parts of us getting together and sharing our stories as a Black community. Unfortunately, we're in a time of COVID, and we have to do the best we can. And I really want to applaud Ron and his team for getting us to where we are tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mark Andrews. I'm the Deputy Chief of Community Policing Command with the Peel Regional Police. Community Policing Command is all of our frontline uniform response, which includes 5 divisions, including the airport. My area represents about half the total number, about 1,500 out of the 3,400 employees of Peel Regional Police. As I said a little earlier, I've been a police officer for 32 years. I come from Jamaica. I was born in Jamaica, came to Canada when I was 13, and I've been a member of this community far longer than I've been a police officer. I'm honored to be asked to provide some comments this afternoon or this evening to everyone. Not only is it an opportunity to recognize the work of our citizens for the advancement of community development, CACD, which is so important, but it's also a time to acknowledge and take a moment to reflect on Black History Month. Peel Regional Police is honored to celebrate Black History Month. You know, on February 1st, we expressed our pride as members of Peel Regional Police by raising the Black History Month flag. Not only was this an opportunity for us to celebrate the rich history and the contributions made to our country by many great Black Canadians, but it also symbolizes our commitment to the community and the work that needs to continue in these spaces each and every day. Now, our support of Black History Month, past, present, and future, starts internally.
Hello everyone, bonjour.
Currently,
Happy Black History.
5 internal support networks, including our Black ISN. And what I want to do is I want to lay a foundation for you to understand some of the things that we're doing as Peel Regional Police to build that relationship of trust and understanding that, you know, is a work in progress. These support networks aim to promote inclusion and understanding by sharing experiences and insights through meaningful discussion with the goal of creating a supportive environment for all of our employees. And when Dr. Wallace was talking about her experiences and the things that she heard and saw and laying out the different pieces of microaggression, cognitive dissonance, you know, the things that we experience on a daily basis that other members of the community don't necessarily understand or see. These are the discussions that we need to engender, or we are engendering in our workforce and then outside with our wider community. PRP is committed to building a strong relationship with our community and in particular Black youth.
Hello everyone.
That's what I'd like to focus on for the next few minutes. I'm going to talk about some of the things that we're doing to advance that relationship. You know, we all know that there's challenges around that relationship, and rather than pretending that they don't exist, we have to acknowledge them and then do the work necessary to improve them. One of the things that we're doing is being proactive. You know, rather than waiting for situations to arise that are driven by law enforcement or the judicial system. You know, we've stood up a unit, and I'm going to use some acronyms here. Police officers love acronyms. You know, the 2 acronyms I'm going to use are DMU, Divisional Mobilization Unit, and CSWB. Now, the CSWB is a Community Safety and Wellbeing framework, and I would love, Ron, at some point in the future, to be able to get together with you and your team and anyone else in this audience that wants to be part of that, to explain the conceptual shift we have from what has been the traditional law enforcement model, very reactive, very focused on responding to calls for service and engaging only the legal and justice systems, and to a more proactive conceptual framework, which outlines the breakdowns that can occur in society that can quickly turn from social disorder into criminality. Given these risk factors, our divisional mobilization units proactively engage with families and individuals to offer resources and assistance based on the root causes of the challenges. You know, I'll give you some examples: food insecurity, homelessness, addiction, mental health, as outlined by the good doctor there. And there's a whole host more. As we know, the prevalence of anti-Black racism in our society has left our community, the Black community, at a greater risk to a lot of these factors. Instead of waiting until situations devolve, we work to identify those patterns early and provide an opportunity to to follow up with individuals and create opportunities to get the supportive social service agencies involved to provide the appropriate supports. That's a critical piece. If we wait until the situations are critical, and I wish I had the visual aids here, but I could show you a little bit more. There's only one response. It's a law enforcement crisis response. We've got to build on prevention, risk mitigation, social development. We, the police, have got to advocate for human services, social services across the sector, across the region, to have the funding and the strengthening to be able to provide those services to our community. So we don't need the police to be involved. So the police are not the service of last resort, so to speak. Again, that's the proactive piece. The relationship building piece. So our DMUs actively seek to build relationships with our communities in general, our racialized communities in particular, through increasing accessibility to police officers. Once we acknowledge that there are barriers that need to be broken down, then we've got to enable and look for ways to provide our community opportunities to break those barriers down. Learning from the community about how to best provide services. When I say that, for too long, for much of my career, we have dictated to the community what police services should be like, what community needs were, rather than listening to the community about what the community needs, meeting the community where it is, where delivering the right services to people in the way that they can consume them and they can best suit them, rather than dictating a police-led response. DMU officers create accessibility through initiating or participating in community events, providing opportunity for members to engage with officers in positive, casual, comfortable environments. If the only time you see police officers is when they're negative circumstances, that's what you associate police officers with. They're there to do one of two things: arrest someone, or to give someone a ticket. If that's all you ever see and engage with police officers, that's your perception. We've got to search for the opportunities to engage, particularly with our young people, in positive circumstances. And last but not least is being consistent. Relationships and trust are not developed overnight. This commitment to the community safety and well-being concept framework, which our region and our police service have adopted. We're amongst the leaders in Canada in adopting this new approach to policing. Is a sustainable, and it can be applied, and that lens can be applied to a variety of units. It can be applied across our policing services. The organization, it's not just our DMU or Divisional Mobilization Units. Whether you're a victim, a culprit, or the families and loved ones and associates of either, or simply bystanders, our aim is to ensure that our community has an increased sense of belonging and knows that they are supported. We want to shift the way people in our community see police and how police see our community. It is. If we're going to be effective in policing the community, we need to police with the community, not simply be an organization that engages with you in a very limited set of circumstances and then has no further interaction. I'm going to give you some examples of some of the things that we're doing, and the collaborative nature of the work that we're doing, engaging a number of organizations across the human services sector in the region of Peel. So one of the programs that we've initiated, targeting youth in a way that they targeting engaging with youth in a way that they want to engage with us, is through Pro Action Cops and Kids. the Pro Action is an organization that funds various activities ranging across the spectrum, from music and computer camps to sports camps to writing camps. Across the spectrum, Pro Action will fund and provide opportunity facilitated by the police for interaction with youth. We have recently in Mississauga, in the Brampton area, two of our officers, Constable Williams and Constable Chad Moss, have created an 8-week basketball camp through Pro Action Cops and Kids. This program is targeted at 35 young people, and some people like to use the term at risk. I don't like that term. I don't like to label kids at risk or label them in any way, shape, or form. And we want to use this. We're using this camp to build the relationships between our community and our police officers. This camp is running until the end of March this year. It's being run out of the Malton Community Center. Officers attend their after school and drop-in sessions on a weekly basis, building rapport with the young people in our community and utilizing the opportunity to engage youth, get in a place in a way that they value. We're also working with Malton Neighborhood Services alongside Denise Tahir from the Youth Wellness Hub at MNS. And they've organized a number of upcoming events, including presentations from our officers, including youth safety, being presented by Crime Prevention Services, human trafficking presentation by a subject matter expert by the name of Joy Brown, a young lady of Jamaican descent like myself, who's renowned across Canada, probably internationally, as an expert on human trafficking, and a presentation again by our Crime Prevention Services on senior safety. We're also engaging in smaller ways with to work to develop a youth engagement strategy. That's an ongoing piece of work, but parts of what we're doing is, we're working with Black youth to create opportunities. One of those opportunities is a paid 16-week job readiness training, 4 weeks in-house, academic and physical, partnered with community partners, AYSP, PCAST, DeWitt Fraser Boxing, some of the collaborative partnerships we formed, and 12 weeks of on-the-job training, paid, and all are still employed post that training, which went from September to the end of January this year. We've also created a video with the youth where they could talk about their lived experiences, so we could push that information out to youth in our community. We want to build on this program. We have a YIPPY program, a youth involved in policing, which is going to have 25 young people, again, from the region of Peel, that are going to come to us through the two school boards, the Catholic and the public school boards, for a 10-week program starting in late June and going through to early August, where we're partnering with Sheridan College to provide, again, paid opportunities for young people in our community to illustrate a path for post-secondary education, as well as a real building a connectivity with their police service. Because in the end, that's the key. The police service is the communities, doesn't belong to Peel Regional Police or Peel Regional Police officers. And last but not least, I've been on this for a little while now, but I'd be remiss in not articulating the Tim Hortons Foundation camp, which we worked with Abigail Hamilton and her rescue youth. Abigail does some wonderful work in our community, and the Bramalea Baptist Church, Pastor John Baptista. We worked with Tim Hortons, one of their one of their owners, who we worked with Rescue and the BBC to identify youth and provide them an opportunity to go to Tim Hortons camp. Again, this is about relationship building with young people and giving them an opportunity to engage with police in a positive setting. Well, I could go on at length about other opportunities, but these are examples of the things that we're doing in this community, and we will continue to do, not just for February, but as the saying goes, forever. This is our we're not just celebrating history for the 28 days of February. We're not just celebrating, or focusing on the relationship with the community for a month out of the year. This is a everyday, every way relationship building, consistent, authentic effort to build a genuine relationship with the community at large and the Black community in particular, because we know how the issues that Dr. Wallace spoke of, and some which I've articulated, the risk factors impact our community. Anyways, I've got on way too long, and I know you're pressed for time later on. I want to say again, thank you for the great work by CACD. Thank you for the work done year round, not just in Black History Month, but you, Ron, and your team. And we value this relationship, and we will continue to work at not only the relationship with Ron and his team, but with the entire Black community, because we want to be the best, most inclusive, most innovative policing service in Canada, if not internationally. Thank you, folks. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate it. Guys, what about a clap for what the police are doing for us here in Peel? We had the opportunity of having Peter Grant, who is a police officer, is on the board. And Peter, I can see you have joined in. I suspect you might still be there in Ottawa, or I'm sure if you're back home, but thank you for being here. Sorry. I don't know, we're having some.
What happened?
Just something. Anyhow, we'll go on. Yes, so thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate it, as I said. And we would like to do some collaboration with you on some of those, cop and kids camp that you're doing. I think there's a strong opportunity where we can share and collaborate, and I certainly do look forward to it. We are a little bit behind our schedule, maybe not a little, but still, we have quite a bit of entertainment ahead. But before we get to the entertainment part of this segment, we have another presentation. And this one is from our good friend, Camille Logan, Interim Director of Education at the Peel District School Board. And of course, she's going to talk to us a little about what the challenges the Black students are experiencing in school and how the school board is making changes to impact these young people. I don't think we're going to have a segment for question and answer, but I'm pretty sure that she will be able to provide us with information to take away and feel more comfortable in terms of how our youth, especially Black youth, are doing here in Peel. Camille, thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much. I want to thank the entire organization, Citizens for the Advancement of Community Development, for inviting me to contribute to what's been a great evening so far. Sorry I wasn't able to be here from the beginning. I had another event that I was attending with the school board, but really happy to have an opportunity to be here tonight. So thank you, Ron, and all the other organizers of tonight's event for the invitation. And I'm always looking for an opportunity to engage in conversation and dialogue to celebrate Black brilliance, excellence, and essentially the wonderment of who we are as a people. And I'm really also to follow Mark in terms of what he was saying about the unfortunate situation that we're in where we can't meet in person. I absolutely wish that we would be able to do that. As the Associate Director of the Peel District School Board, I just came here in the spring, so we'll be approaching my first year in the Peel District School Board after a long-standing career in the York Region District School Board. So just east of Peel. And, you know, I was always very actively involved in the Black community in York Region. And so really looking forward to having an opportunity, hopefully in the spring, we can actually be able to be meeting people in person. And hopefully I'll have an opportunity to continue to get to know the Peel region and to get to know the many members of what comprises the Black community in Peel. So I was really excited about the theme for this year's event, Ubuntu, and as stated in the flyer that went out, it can be translated as I am you, or also expressed as I am because you are. So it cannot be underscored that foundational to the success of Black children is the community. Our community connections and the spirits from our ancestors grounds us. Whether you're here in the Peel region as someone who was born and raised on the continent, if you hail from the Caribbean like my grandparents and my parents, or like myself and my children, if you're born and raised in Canada. Regardless, our African roots ground us with a strong sense of community. It's in our bones. So with this acknowledgement of our ancestry, our children, whether at home or in our classrooms, they should and must develop a deep sense of pride about their ancestry. And so that is part of the ongoing work at the Peel District School Board. And, you know, I think everyone knows that we are on a journey in the board, and that is to shift the culture in the Peel District School Board. And I'm delighted that as we also, as a board, close out Black History Month, this year's theme for the school board was Black Flourishing. And I know some people may be asking, you know, what do you mean by flourishing? And as a board, we have been intentionally focusing on the conditions that we're creating in our schools and classrooms that are necessary for Black children to thrive. Black flourishing is the pinnacle of Black excellence, such that there's no ceiling for the levels of success that our students, our children, and our community can engage in and define for ourselves. When we talk about Black flourishing, I'm also drawn to the work of Dr. Bettina Love. And she states that the practice of abolitionist teaching is rooted in the internal desire we all have for freedom, joy, restorative justice, and to matter to ourselves, our community, our family, and our country. This desire must be an expectation, and as an education system, we must push back on the natural state or the status quo of education systems, which means that we actively recognize, resist, and call out against injustice and the disposability of the Black child. And so I want to begin there. I know that you know, all of you who are online today, I'm sure you are well aware of the Peel District School Board's Ministry Review that came out in 2020. It's hard to believe that it's almost 2 years since the launch of that report. And so thank you, Ron, and the organizers for inviting me to provide an update on the Peel District School Board's progress of the ministry directives and some of the changes that we've made as a board in response to the directives. So I won't spend too much time speaking about sort of the outcomes and the findings of the review, because I'm going to assume that given that it's 2 years in and there was so much media and so forth about it, lots of conversations have happened about the ministry directives. So I won't spend too much time focusing on the directives themselves. But as you know, there were 2 reports that were received, and they were commissioned by the Ministry of Education in 2020. And they spoke to the concerning culture of systemic racism in the school board. So egregious that the ministry appointed a supervisor who's still been in place since that time. And the review includes 27 ministry directives, which includes 54 specific actions that are to be addressed by the school board. And I think most importantly, it cannot be stated enough that the review of the Peel District School Board was a result of a call from community, and particularly the Black community, designed to hold the Peel District School Board accountable. And, you know, there were over 115 interviews with over 300 people who participated in different activities and events to speak to the findings of the review. So when we talk about the review and the recommendations, it cannot be understated that the community was a significant part of getting the school board to this place and holding the school board accountable to ensuring that when Black children walk through the doors of the Peel District School Board, they have a positive experience and they have the utmost opportunity for success. So I want to highlight a few themes from the report, and in particular, the work that's being done in response. And so, as I said, the board is in the process of a complete cultural transformation. And we've been engaged in collective action with an expectation to interrogate, disrupt, and dismantle racist and discriminatory policies, programs, and procedures as were identified in the review. So as a result, there's been ongoing professional learning and training for staff, and it is ongoing. It can't happen overnight. It can't happen in a day. It is ongoing. And in particular, anti-racism and anti-oppression training designed to address the multiple forms of racism and marginalization that exist in our schools and impacting many racialized and marginalized school student populations. So specifically, there is mandatory anti-Black racism training that's been ongoing for the senior team, the executive level of the school board, principals, vice principals, managers, and supervisors. It's an expectation that everybody engage in this mandatory training. And in addition to that, we have ongoing anti-Black racism professional learning, because we know it's endemic within the broader society and it makes its way into our schools and classrooms. So professional learning has been designed to address the many ways that it manifests itself, ranging from the curriculum to the interactions that staff have with students, to ensuring that we have clear and accessible pathways for students, and also our response to student discipline. So a few things that I'd like to highlight is one, that we have a discriminatory slurs and statement policy. So any staff who work directly with students, including administrators, teachers, any staff, they have to respond to any behavior, student behavior, that's likely to have a negative impact on the school climate. It's a must. So any response to any slurs or anything like that must be reported and responded to. We know in the review that there was a significant section about student discipline. We know that from the findings of the review talked about teachers and principals not implementing progressive discipline, that there were often escalating trivial issues that were often leading to police interaction and often arrests. Also, the Peel District School Board was suspending Black secondary students at a disproportionate rate, where students Black students in high school made up 10.2% of the secondary school population at the time of the review, but they were in total 22.5% of the students that received suspensions. So as a response to that, and as an expectation with regards to the directives, all principals and vice principals at this time have received 3 complete modules of specific training to ensure that there's procedural fairness, that we implement progressive discipline, and we ensure that we are developing professional learning that is also going to speak to restorative justice to address the historical patterns of disproportionate outcomes in suspensions and exclusions. We now, at this point in time, students in kindergarten to grade 3, they're not suspended, and that's part of the provincial mandate, but the Peel District School Board has gone an extra step. We have expunged all of the suspension records for students from kindergarten to grade 3. And that is essentially because we recognize that the historical disproportionate outcomes and the ways in which suspensions were meted for students, we have concerns about that. So all of those records were expunged. And as a result of the expectations and the growing focus on human rights, we have revisioned our Human Rights Office. So we now have an executive lead with human rights. We have a specialist and outreach coordinators. So students and staff can access the Human Rights Office if they see that there's concerns or issues and so forth. They have access to make a claim around human rights to have it addressed immediately. We also created an equity department. And most recently, we've added a second superintendent. So now we have 2 superintendents. There's a superintendent of Indigenous education, anti-oppression, anti-racism, and school engagement. And we most recently just added at the end of January, a superintendent of equity, that's community leadership, partnership, and engagement. And so this particular superintendent is focused on just that, community. We know that we have so much work to do in terms of rebuilding relationships with community, and we want to focus on our engagement with community in particular. And so with the revisioning of the department, it'll be a much stronger focus, and there'll be a much stronger presence, we are hopefully, as we hopefully get to see one another in person, but a much stronger presence in community with this recent organization. And we're also going to be launching our first anti-racism policy, which is going to be released in the spring. And so with the significance, I know that there's been conversation, and we know it's such a concern about mental health and well-being for our students. And as a result of that, we are now hiring identity-specific social workers. So there's Black social workers that are available to students in the Peel District School Board. So really excited to make sure that we have that available to students. And also really excited to announce that we are developing a Black student success strategy. And so this strategy is going to be specific to the entire school board, with an expectation that we have very strong implementation plans in place to ensure Black student success. And the Black student success team, which is right now being developed, it will consist of a coordinating principal, resource teachers. We also have graduation coaches and outreach workers, and they will all be part of the team that will be designed to champion the work of Black student success. And that will be happening in the upcoming year. I'm also excited to announce that with the conclusion of the Black Student Success Strategy, which we hope to launch in the fall, that this is also going to inform our Black Student Success Center. So as we're developing the strategy, creating the team, we're also going to have a center that's devoted to a variety of different programs, activities, professional learning, all designed to ensure that the Peel District School Board provides optimal conditions for learning for Black students. And with the African proverb that I'm sure so many people are familiar with, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so really want to speak to the fact that we want to collaborate with community as we engage in this work. When we develop the strategy, we're going to engage in some consultations with community, and the same with the center. We're going to be looking to reach out and get input from community. And we've been doing that with the development of our anti-racism policy. So I hope that there are folks who are on the screen that will have signed up for the consultations for our anti-racism policy. So I hope from what I've just shared with you that you can hear there's been a lot of growth. but we know that there are decades of undoing. Like there's so much work that still needs to be done. So although we can celebrate around the many successes, there's still work to be done and the work is ongoing. So I'd like to conclude the presentation just with a video clip. So Ron, I hope that you were able to access the video clip so that we can show that. I'm just going to explain a little bit about the clip as you get that pulled up. This is just a
We're proud to be launching the network of
example
Black Studies
of
educators appeal for curriculum transformation. I know that it is in the classroom that will make the biggest difference to Black student achievement by incorporating the history, identities, and concepts of Black Canadians in learning materials, learning environments, and teaching approaches. We believe in Black student excellence.
Oh, that's okay. If you want, oh, I was going to say, if you want to play it, that's okay. Okay, I'll just preface it and then we can watch the video. Okay, so I'll just prime the video before before it starts. So the video is essentially shares exactly what I think most people are interested in terms of what is actually happening in schools and classrooms to advance what we want our students to experience. And so this is just a sample of the network of Black studies educators. So this is a network of educators from across the entire board. And they've been working in the board to basically ensure that by September of 2024, all of our secondary schools will have a variety of Black Studies courses that are available to students. And so they'll be designed to include the experience, contributions, perspectives, the resistance, and the brilliance of Black joy for students in schools and classrooms. The goal of the network is to address the erasure of Black and Indigenous epistemology and to counter the dominant narrative of anti-Blackness in curriculum areas. So I will turn it over now so that you can have a watch the video, and we're really excited that within the next 2 years, we already have a cohort of schools that have these programs happening. But by 2024, the agreement is that every single secondary school will have a series of Black Studies programs that will be available to students. So you can play the video now. Thank you.
We're proud to be launching the network of Black Studies educators appeal for curriculum transformation. I know that it is in the classroom that will make the biggest difference to Black student achievement by incorporating the history, identities, and concepts of Black Canadians in your learning materials, learning environments, and teaching approaches. We believe in Black student excellence, and we're taking responsibility for Black students' success.
As a Black Studies Quiz teacher and MBSE member, supporting teachers in implementation and integration of Black Studies courses in their schools, and empowering teachers to engage in culturally responsive teaching and anti-racist teaching that allows teachers to create a more equitable classroom that eliminates barriers, affirms their lived experiences, and inspires them to achieve at the highest level.
By providing the leadership, support, and practical examples of how to engage in culturally responsive and anti-Black racism work that addresses the erasure of Black and Indigenous epistemology in our curriculum, I believe teachers will move from theory to practice, and we will see tangible results for all student success, especially Black students, to work at the NBSE.
It's a very important course because it doesn't silence the visible minorities. Yes, we've been learning about white history for the past how many years, but to finally learn about Black history, a better choice of words, the full Canadian history, means that visible minorities won't be pushed aside or silenced anymore in the education system.
The course teaches important aspects of history and institutional and interpersonal racism that other social science courses leave out. Without this course and the lessons taught by Mr. Atwell, I would not know about slavery in Canada and the resistance made by many enslaved people, nor would I know about the many accomplishments of African kingdoms.
After completing this course, I realized that it's very important that other schools teach this course as well, as it educates not only the students, but the teachers as well about the Black experience and what it's like to be a Black person living in Canada.
Thank you. And so that just gives you a snippet of some of the work that's happening in Peel and the significance of that work. And so I just want to conclude with a quote from the late, great Bell Hooks. And she says, "Education as the practice of freedom affirms healthy self-esteem in students as it promotes their capacity to be aware and to live consciously. It teaches them to reflect and act in ways that further self-actualization rather than conformity to the status quo." And I think we want the utmost success for Black children. We want to ensure that all of our schools ensure that students, when they leave our schools, that they graduate to the best of their potential. And we are really looking forward to continuing the ongoing work in the Peel District School Board. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share. And happy to engage in additional conversations with the organization, just to talk about some of the work that we're doing and looking at ways that we can continue to advance the success of Black children in our care. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Camille. Really appreciate this presentation. Much of what you've said is something we have been talking about and looking for years. So we are very excited about the anti-racism, anti-Black racism training for teachers, and Black student strategy. All those are things that, we look forward to. Also, news of the ending of streaming in applied and academic courses. Excellent stuff is going on there at the region of Peel. And we just want you to know that we as community organization are eager and anxious to partner, collaborate, and to work with you to meet the needs of these young people. Okay, so thank you again for taking time out your busy schedule to be with us. And just want you to know that this is truly an interesting and informative presentation.
Thank you.
Guys,
I look forward to for opportunities as well. So thank you again.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yes, so we're kind of getting to that entertainment piece, which I know a lot of you wanted to, not necessarily to rush away from this kind of information that we're getting. It is meaningful. It's what we have been calling out for, and we are pleased that the Ministry of Education has stepped up and making demands and making changes. And we thank those at the school board for stepping up, filling the gap, and doing the tremendous job that you're now doing, as Camille has mentioned. So, but at the same time, we like to mix it up and we like to have some fun. So we're gonna go into that segment where we have some entertainment, and I can assure you, it's really first class. And so without any further ado, because we have lost some time and we want to see if we can cover as much of it as possible. So I'm gonna ask Errol to just roll that tape for me.
Hey, yeah. Lexicon. Hey, yeah. Hey, pretty girl, come over here. Let's leave this place and disappear. Hey, pretty girl, come over here. My intentions are pretty clear. Sway, 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 sway. My intentions are pretty clear.
Intentions clear, you know me not indecisive. Flexing at the ear, neighbors accept me nice. Front to the rear, tonight me get me license. Drive with your body, not be told my ties. And you work all day, but I'm here with the night shift. Come back way, cause you not free to ride it. Can I twist, give you little surprises. Wild style, look like you're in a crisis.
I'll show you a good time, let's make other plans. Leave your man, I'll show you a good time, let's make other plans. She told me she not alone, I told her relax and give me your phone. Make it last longer, let's take a photo. She got me crazy, I'm out of control.
Sit up on your belly, suck it out like a lobster. Leave a little drizzle on your mouth. After, wine make your back pop, wine make your back pop. Feeling so we out, get it by like a contract. Heavy like football team, make contact. Classic and sweet like the body gas soundtrack. Wine make your back pop, wine make your back pop.
Hi, Errol. We're gonna have poetry recital at this point from Rita.
I am my mother's son. What is really Black History Month? What is the reason why you and I get to have a month of our own, Black History Month, they say? Look at it this way. There are people who are here present. I am my mother's story. What is really Black History Month? What is the reason why you and I get to have a month of our own, Black History Month, they say? Look at it this way. There are people who are here present 12 months a year, 52 weeks, 365 days, 8,760 hours, 5,600 minutes counted for in a year. Each day you get to cry, laugh, smile. Each and every hour one becomes homeless, falls in love and loses, and we win again. One gives birth and the other dies. In those days you get to live, we become alive and lifeless. You get to be alive. Every yesterday becomes history. Here it goes again. Happy Black History Month. Allow me to ask you this. Does your blackness come with an expression date of February 1st, good for use before the 28th? That you get to be disposed all out in the next month of March? Is your ancestry interrupted history of Africa only accounted for in the 550 years of plantation and being used as a white man's tool worth only a month? If not, then why is Black history really even a thing? Why is it that you get to learn about the weather at school, the economical justice and justice, the whole prejudice of exploitation and capitalism, alongside geography, but never your mother's story? Instead, you're given a glimpse of her every once a year, forced to take a peek of her wounds, but never what's left of her health, the clean parts of hers, both the necks that were nailed on and those still pushing through the pavement to be here alive with you and I. Why is Black History Month really? Why is it that we get to tell the stories of the ones who fought the North Star to free and liberate our people only when we are on a countdown? Perhaps I'm saying all this as a sign of an invitation to get you to roll with me. Welcome me to a table of celebration of life, of healing and resilience. A life long lived and blood forever shed as a price of our smiles and laughter. Let's not mention repressions yet. They accounted for seats that were right-free hours but never granted to us or our children. Let's hold up this declaration of proclamation of emancipation and call it freedom. Call it one step walk towards spiritual declaration. Call it liberty earned, cold in the land of the still enslaved black women and men who are yet not free from a system that's built and constructed to break them. The fierce and broken who are in the march towards their own freedom, demanding it, getting it, grabbing the honors from Harvard, not to go back and to work in the master's city plantation, not to own one themselves, but to free those that they left Let Black History Month be you and I visiting our motherland, investing and celebrating our culture that they have so much made us forget that even exists. Let this Black History Month be theirs for the sake of the guilt ones, those who sinned against the holy ones and deprived them of their God. Just give them a wooden one who return the enlightenment of our purpose and greatness to replace it with temporary pleasures of materialism. When we know and have always known what truly matters, that our lives matter, they have all along mattered, and we have to make what matters matter the most, and it's our lives. Know that to be for true.
Amazing.
Rita, she's from Rwanda. Prior to that, there was Getna, a local Toronto artist. So these young ladies are youngsters. They are tremendously talented. And, you know, we look forward to see them, you know, taking their rightful place and be the kind of artistic giants that they are on the path to become. At this point, and I'm trying to speed it up quickly, we're going to have a greetings from the mayor.
Hello, Mayor Bonnie Crombie here, and on behalf of the City of Mississauga and the members of my council, I would like to extend my best wishes to all the attendees at this year's Black History Month celebration hosted by the Citizens for the Advancement of Community Development. I'd like to start off by recognizing Ron Cunningham and everyone at the CACD for everything you do in our community to help empower, strengthen, and mentor Mississauga's youth. This event is an important opportunity for the community to join together to recognize the leaders that are shaping our future and breaking through barriers. Throughout the month of February, I encourage all residents to immerse themselves in the rich culture, heritage, and history of Black Canadians, and many of the cultures that make up this beautiful community. In Mississauga, we celebrate the things that make us different, while at the same time embrace our shared values that are deeply rooted in the identity of our city. Diversity truly makes Mississauga shine, and we are committed to celebrating, promoting, and being inclusive to all residents that make up our great city. Over the past 2 years, the Black Lives Matter movement shifted our world and our perspective on what real, meaningful change looks like. And while we have taken positive and progressive steps forward, there is more work that needs to be done as a city and as a community to tackle racism and discrimination, and in particular, anti-Black racism and discrimination. On June 24, 2020, Mississauga City Council unanimously passed an anti-Black racism resolution that called for several action items to be led out of the mayor's and city manager's offices. Over the past year, there have been numerous consultations taking place with the public and with the mayor's Black Caucus Advisory Group to identify and recommend ways to improve equity within our city structure and its institutions. We now have a draft report full of recommendations which will be presented to council very soon. So please keep a lookout. Once again, I would like to wish everyone at CACD a happy Black History Month. Thank you.
That's lovely, Madam Mayor. Thank you. And I think I might have seen Councillor Kovac who came in. Please convey our thanks and appreciation to the mayor. Councillor Kovac, do you want to wave? Do you want to say a quick hi to the folks here?
Maybe just very quickly, Ron, as I wouldn't want to interrupt the engagement tonight, but I had come in a little bit earlier and I was met with some beautiful musical performances, which I really enjoyed. And I should share with you, I think the reason Mayor Crombie is not here this evening is because she has held her own in consultation with some others, Black History Month commemoration in between, I think 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock, but it's gone past that. I think it's already now, what is it, 8:40, and they're still going on. They had Michael Pinball Clemens, a couple of members of parliament, one named Greg Fergus, who represents a Quebec riding, Shelley Scott England, who's a business and education professional, and then also Kevin Carrington from The Voice. Really well attended, but I think you have more people here, Mr. Cunningham, and that speaks to your work in the community for so many years as the CEO of CACD. I always enjoy coming out to various events that you've put on, whether it's a graduation ceremony. The youth in the community work so hard, and I just know I hope all of them and you who are listening understand how much you're appreciated by the volunteers, the board of directors, and those who work with you with CACD. So keep on doing what you're doing, and dedicate yourself to whatever that is that you're passionate about. And I appreciate very much, Sir, Mr. Cunningham, for your invitation this evening, and hope everyone enjoys a splendid rest of the evening as we celebrate together this momentous occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kovac. Always appreciate your presence and look forward to continue to work with you in the community. Now we're gonna have we have a lot of Jamaicans here, and I'm sure you guys know a lot about Bob Marley. When you think of Bob Marley, I'm sure you're thinking definitely some reggae rhythm. We have a Jamaican coming up, and I won't say any more. I'll just leave you to enjoy this beautiful rendition of Christina Smith.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Black History Month. My name is Christina Smith, and I am so honored to be a part of the CACD's Black History Month celebrations. Over the course of the pandemic, we've had quite a bit of time to really reflect on our history and just how far we've come as a community. But I think Black History Month is a little bit more than that as well. It's also a time for us to celebrate what currently is. And more importantly, it's a time for us to really step fearlessly and faithfully into what will be. Please enjoy this rendition of Summertime from the opera Porgy and Bess. The video is inspired by Canada's first Black opera singer, Portia White.
So hush.
How is that from Christina? That's the spirit of the Jamaican people. Very creative. What do you say about that, Teg? Okay, at this point, we are going to have a cultural dance from one of our community groups out in Oakville. They perform for us every year while we're at the Valleys. And of course, for the last 2 years, we are going virtual. They have always sent a tape. So at this point, we'll have the Oakville Chinese Network.
Wow. Great.
那夜的雨也没能留住你，山谷的风，它陪着我哭泣。你的驼铃声仿佛还在我耳边响起，告诉我你曾来过这里。我酿的酒喝不醉我自己，你唱的歌却让我一醉不起。我愿意陪你翻过雪山，穿越戈壁，可你不辞而别，还断绝了所有的消息。心上人，我在可可托海等你。他们说你嫁到了伊犁，是不是因为那里有美丽的那提，还是那里的杏花才能酿出你要的甜蜜？毡房外又有驼铃声声响起，我知道那一定不是你，再没人能唱出像你那样动人的歌曲，再没有一个美丽的姑娘让我难忘记。你唱的歌却让我一醉不起，我愿意陪你翻过雪山，穿越戈壁，可你不辞而别，还断绝了所有的消息。心上人，我在可可托海等你。他们说你嫁到了伊犁，是不是因为那里有美丽的那提，还是那里的杏花才能酿出你要的甜蜜？毡房外又有驼铃声 没人能唱出像你那样动人的歌曲。再没有一个美丽的姑娘让我难忘记。
Tell me, wasn't that truly beautiful? Indeed. Thank you, Renu, for providing that for us and for always supporting the CACD Black History Month. At this point, we're going to have a greeting from the Minister of Housing, Diversity and Inclusion, the Honorable Hamed Hussein.
Hello everyone, bonjour tout le monde. Happy Black History Month. This year's theme is February and Forever, and it acknowledges the reality that Black Canadian history and contributions cannot be narrowed down to one month. And this year's theme also focuses. Hello everyone, bonjour tout le monde. Happy Black History Month. This year's theme is February and Forever. And it acknowledges the reality that Black Canadian history and contributions cannot be narrowed down to one month. And this year's theme also focuses on the everyday reality of Black excellence. So let us take this opportunity to celebrate and acknowledge the significant contributions that Black Canadians have made and continue to make to over 400 years of the story of Canada. Let us also join together to create a more equitable and inclusive Canada for all Canadians. Thank you, merci beaucoup, and have a safe and happy Black History.
Okay. We are going to have another greeting, and this is coming from MPP Khalid Rashid from the Mississauga East Cooksville constituency.
Hello everyone, this is Khalid Rashid, your member of Provincial Parliament for Mississauga East Cooksville. First and foremost, I would like to recognize Ron and Sonia Cunningham, who have dedicated their lives to helping others and strengthening our community. Thank you to all the CACD board members who organized today's important event. And I want to give a big shout out to all the viewers and partners who are here today celebrating Black History. I would like to recognize the importance of Black History Month as we honor, acknowledge, celebrate, and support Black culture and the contributions made by Black Ontarians and Black Canadians to our province and to our country throughout history. I encourage all Ontarians to take part in celebrating Black History Month by learning more about the important role Black Ontarians and Canadians have played in the history of our great province. Thank you.
Thank you, MPP Khalid Rashid. We appreciate you participating in our program. At this point, we are going to move on to some other entertainment. We had planned to end at 9. I think we might go over by maybe 5-10 minutes. If we stick with all that we have, it shouldn't be more than 10 minutes by my estimation. And at this point, I'm going to ask that Errol puts on Jean Asamoah to give us some drumming from the heart of Africa.
Zuma zuma lepi, zuma malesu. 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 Alele zu, alele zu, alele zuma malesu. Alele zu, alele zu, alele zuma malesu. Zuma zuma lepi, zuma malesu. Zuma zuma lepi, zuma malesu. Alele zu, alele zu, alele zuma malesu. Alele zu, alele zu, alele zuma malesu.
There goes our friend Gene Asamoah. We have seen he's been performing for us for many years now at the Mississauga Valley Community Center, and we appreciate him supporting us. Last year, he also sent a tape to be played as we, went through COVID-19. So at this point, I'm going to invite again our Jamaican friend, Miss Christina Smith. And then after she performs, we will invite Baba Williams to give us the close-in performance with his saxophone. Remember, we had him earlier this evening talking about Ubuntu. So at this point, we will have Christina.
Hello again, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that rendition of Summertime from the opera Porgy Bess. This next piece is called Sure on This Shining Night. Hello again, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that rendition of Summertime from the opera Porgy and Bess. This next piece is called Sure on This Shining Night by Samuel Barber, and the video is in honor of the late, great Jesse Norman.
Certainly beautiful. I just love to hear her, and but look, we got to go on. Baba, if you can hear me, we're gonna ask you to close out the night for us.
All righty.
After you finish, we're gonna ask Wes to say thank you. It's now 5 minutes after 9. We should have ended at 9, and we don't want to go beyond 9:10. So take it away, Baba.
All righty. I'll be doing the greatest classic of all time by Bob Marley, One Love.
Together and belong.
Yes, isn't that lovely? Isn't that a nice way to end this? Thank you all. Thank you for showing up. But in fact, I'm not the one that's supposed to say thank you. Wes, it's now over to you. But I gotta say, Marjorie, so nice to see you dancing. It's truly inspiring. Yes, Wes, you do the honors.
Yeah, Wes.
Your mic is off, Wes.
Please unmute.
Still not hearing you, Wes. Still not hearing you.
You're muted.
Yeah, you're muted. I can see it from here. Yeah. It's malfunctioning, Wes. Maybe I should just say something. I just want to thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate you. I see some dear friend. I see Mr. Rego is still with us. I also noticed Miss Valenti, of course, Marjorie. It's so beautiful to see you. Renu, good to have you. Colleen, Miss Luke, I'm just calling name, Peter Grant, and all the performers, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. It was indeed a long evening, but I think it was informative. The entertainment, I think, was great. And I think we can go take a nap. For those who are going to be going out to get something to eat, like myself, well, notice from 4 I'm here, so naturally I could take a break to get anything. And Sonia is with me and in gloves, so we're gonna have to go out and get something from one of those drive-through.
Sorry about that.
That's fine, Bob. I know you're in the spirit too. You may blow if you want. Do another song. We will leave gradually, but you can play. Well, guys, you can stay back and listen to the music, or you can go. So, Rego, thank you again. Really appreciate it.
I don't wanna wait and beg for your love. I don't wanna wait.
Liberty Silver should see you now. Mark, if you're still there.
Well, I'm in the comfort of my home dancing.
Beautiful. And for students here, thank you guys. We appreciate you. Doreen, I can see you. Linda, thanks for joining us. Carol, thank you so much, my friend. Really appreciate your help, your hard work. There's some names that I don't know very well. There's Barbara, Carson, Betty Blake, of course,
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Happy Black History Month.
Good evening and bye, Ron.
Bye-bye.
Students, remember to do your homework for tomorrow.
I don't see that big Karen.
I'm not behind the scenes.